The Friends School community acknowledges the Tasmanian Aboriginal peoples as the traditional custodians and owners of this island, Lutruwita Trawana. As a learning community, we recognise the value of continuing Aboriginal knowledge and cultural practice, which helps inform our understanding of history, culture and country. We pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging. We acknowledge the strength and resilience of all of Tasmania's First Peoples, and we walk alongside them respectfully bearing witness. Good afternoon and welcome to our Academic Awards ceremony, recognising and celebrating outstanding academic achievement for 2020. Welcome to Principal Nelson File, to Deputy Principal Sean O'Rourke, and to Head of Clemes, Adam Chambers, and welcome everyone watching from home. We're live streaming this event. A few years ago, in our final Year 12 gathering, a student shared a saying of his father's: "A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor." I've come back to this often, but never more so than over the past 10 months. The students receiving awards today all demonstrated tenacity, commitment, determination under incredibly trying circumstances. Some students spent extended periods in lockdown, others had periods in hotel quarantine. Even those fortunate enough to experience little disruption had to adjust to a new way of learning, physically removed from their classrooms, teachers and friends. They were often isolated and sometimes scared. Through these experiences, every one of the students has developed new skills and learnings far beyond those that we're celebrating today. They should be immensely proud. We congratulate every single one of you on your achievements, both academic and otherwise. The Friends School strives to produce young people who contribute productively to society and who make the world a better place. This goal is encapsulated in our school purpose and concern statement, to help our students develop as people who will think clearly, act with integrity, make decisions for themselves, be sensitive to the needs of others and the environment, be strong in service and hold a global perspective. Our guest speaker today, Friends School alumnus Ailsa McPhee, is an outstanding example of the purpose and concerns in action. An educator who has dedicated much of her career to working with schools in isolated regions and to improving outcomes for her students and their communities. Ailsa's experiences include Assistant Principal of Tiwi College Indigenous Boarding School, Acting Assistant Principal of Cormilda College, Darwin, and she spent time working in Japan as a teacher of English. I'm very excited to welcome Ailsa to the stage.
Thank you and good afternoon. Award recipients, family members and staff, thank you so much for the invitation to come here today, to return to Friends and to speak this afternoon at this award ceremony. When Lynn contacted me about this, she said, just come and say a few words about your pathways, your experiences, and some advice that you might have for award recipients as they head off out into the world. Well, to be honest, I feel a little underqualified to give that kind of advice. You guys have tackled challenges that I never had to tackle as a student, the challenges of COVID, of lockdown that Kate has spoken of. So I feel like you're the one who perhaps should be giving advice to us teachers about what worked and what didn't, but I'll give it a shot today. So to go back to where you guys were sitting now, I studied at Friends for high school. I was really lucky. I felt that I had great teachers, really great experiences. I liked trying new activities, and I really feel I made lifelong friends here. One of my friends' husbands talks about the friendly Friends School friends of our friendship group and jokes about the fact that we're all still in touch now and embedded in each other's lives. That really is true. The friends that I made here are still really important to me now. So look, I was a bit nerdy at school. I got a few of these awards too. And thinking back about today, something struck me, a memory I had of my science teacher in Year 10. It was the time of year in Year 10 when we were putting in our subjects for Year 11 and 12. And I mentioned that I was planning to be a teacher, and so I was thinking about what subjects to take. And he said to me, "A teacher? You could do better than that. Like, you're getting good scores. Why don't you do the subjects for med or for law? That will be the way to go. And I was pretty impressionable, so I took his advice. I slogged through physics and chem. And then at the end of it thought, actually, I do just want to be a teacher. Not just, I want to be a teacher. So I suppose my first piece of advice is to follow your passions, not your entry score. Don't feel that all those hard-earned ATAR points have to be used. Use the skills, the knowledge that you have gained, but don't feel that you have to go for the course that you can get into if there's another course that you can easily get into or would much rather be doing. Following my time here at Friends, I had a gap year. I went off and studied at UTAS, had a great time. I studied overseas and spent some time in Japan for a couple of years. That was a bit of a random one. It came out of left field. I remember my parents saying, you keep talking about wanting to be a teacher, but you still haven't actually trained yet to be a teacher. But it was one of those opportunities I felt I couldn't miss. I had a boyfriend at the time who said, I've got this job in Japan. Do you want to come too? I thought, yeah, all right. I can't speak any Japanese, but I'm sure I'll pick it up. I get to be an English teacher and try out my teaching skills on these poor, defenceless young students. And so I went along for the ride. And so I guess that's another piece of advice that I wish that I'd had at the time, which was be confident to know your goals, but don't be afraid to take some detours along the way, especially if it's kind of part of the bigger purpose. The things that I learnt teaching, the ABC song, nursery rhymes, and basic conversational Japanese to my students provided real foundations for going on to be a high school teacher and a school leader that I have been since. So following that, I finally did actually do my teacher training in Melbourne. I got my first teaching job at a private school there. It was a great place. I loved it. I learnt so much. I thought, I've come from Friends School in Hobart. I know everything there is to know about what it's like in a private school. And then my first day they said, well, you need to learn the school song, the rowing song, the old boys song, the old scholars song, the end of year song, and the school hymn. And I thought, okay, it's a little bit different to Friends, but I think I can manage. I had a great time taking school trips to Cambodia, teaching Macbeth to students who really wanted to understand what every word meant, and learning from teachers who are far more skilled and experienced than I was. And then some other opportunities came up. I became part of a school service group called the Indigenous Partnerships Committee, and we started doing some trips off to Arnhem Land and to a little school called Tiwi College. The year I began at that private school was the year that Cyril Rioli was finishing year 12. And quite a few of his family members and extended family from Tiwi were making their way down to this school in Melbourne on sports scholarships. And I thought, I've got some kids in my class who have come from a different life. They've been picked up out of the bush and dropped down here in Melbourne in the sandstone, ivy-covered school here. Where have they come from and what was their life? So I thought, I'll just pop off for a year or two. I headed up to the Tiwi Islands, and what was meant to be a year turned into 6. So my next piece of advice would be to ask yourself, is my career not only satisfying, but does it fit with my values? I found a life in Melbourne, the excitement of teaching Shakespeare really satisfying, but there was a little part of me saying, I want to give back in a way that I can't do at this particular place. So to Tiwi. For those of you who don't know, the Tiwi Islands are 2 small islands that are just north of Darwin. They are quite close. You can fly over there on a light plane in about 20 minutes, half an hour, or on a ferry in a couple of hours. The Tiwi people really successfully walk between 2 worlds because they're so close to Darwin and a capital city. But being an island, their culture has really withstood outsiders coming in and trying to affect change. So I headed off to this school in the bush. And when I got there as an excited teacher, I realised that I was going to learn more from my Tiwi co-teachers and students than I could really ever teach. It was a boarding school in the bush, right smack bang, and there's a few pictures coming around and you'll see the island there. We were right bang in the middle of that larger island, Melville Island. There were some boarding houses and some classrooms. A school oval, a school creek and a school farm, and then pretty much just bush and some plantation trees as far as the eye could see. We would drive out in troopies, pick up the kids from the little townships around the island on a Monday morning, drive back in for Monday afternoon school, teach for the week, have homework club in the evenings, barbecue on a Thursday night, and then on Friday afternoon drive them home again. Sometimes that drive took an hour or two, depending on their township. Sometimes it took 3, 4 or 5 hours, depending on the roads, whether it was monsoon season. We had a number of times when cars would have to be winched out. You'd get a call on the sat phone. And one horrible year, we even had 2 school troopies that were stuck in the mud and just had to stay there till the monsoon season had ended. So it was that kind of place. While I was there, I learnt that there are really 2 different ways, or multiple different ways, of seeing the world, and there are certainly 2 sides to any story. One of my surprises when I helped to drive these troopies out to the communities was seeing kids sitting around, I don't want to go to school this week. And my first thought, coming as an outsider, was, why aren't these parents telling the child that they need to go to school? That's what you should do as a good parent. And then realising that in Tiwi culture, things work differently. Kids were expected to be quite independent by about 12 years old. They would make the decision to go to school or not. Now, of course, if they didn't hop on the troopie and head in, Grandma would be giving them a raz on Monday afternoon, and they'd probably have to spend all week doing jobs for her. But the parent would not force them into the car or the school bus. They had to make that decision for themselves. There were also different ways of seeing the world. For example, our view of science, a Western view, is very empirical, hierarchical. We have labels. We look at plants and animals to a DNA level of detail. In the Tiwi way, the night heron is the mother of the crocodile. And so science, dreaming, kinship and connections all come together. Another difference I found coming from Tasmania, where we all drive around with our Keep Tassie Wild stickers on the back of the car, is that for an Indigenous or Aboriginal person, that idea is quite strange. Hunting and burning are part of keeping your country healthy and safe. And in fact, as an elder or a custodian of the land, that is part of your responsibility. Another example of seeing things from different perspectives is that I remember meeting a student and getting some handover from his previous teacher, some notes that had been left behind. Failing NAPLAN standards by multiple benchmarks. Illiterate for most aspects of the school curriculum. Failing. But when I met this student, the knowledge that he held of family kinship connections, of where people fitted into the systems of dreaming, of knowing your mother's skin group, of your father's dance, he could point out any person in the community and instantly say where they fitted in, what they needed to do. When there was a funeral, he knew which songs needed to be sung, and he knew the old Tiwi words of how to sing them. Words which are slowly dying out as Tiwi becomes modernised with English and Creole added to it. The knowledge he had will never be recognised in our school curriculum. Had there been a subject on Tiwi, he would have been getting A+. Now, obviously that's tricky. There's big questions that we have about how on earth would we organise those things. There's so many different cultures all around Australia. But it at least made me see there are different types of knowledge and different ways of seeing success. So many people walk in 2 worlds and have to keep 2 different types of knowledge and 2 different cultures in their head. I remember one Thursday night standing at a school barbecue, chatting to some girls, and they were sort of 14 years old. We were all standing around talking. They were chatting about what had been on Home and Away that night, something about, I don't know, Dean and Ziggy maybe, who had been having a breakup, something like that. And I must have just pulled a few strands of hair out of my ponytail and popped them on the ground. I said, "Miss, what are you doing? Don't do that, the hairy man will get you." I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "If he finds your hairs, he'll sniff you out in your bed, grab you by your ponytail and pull you out and take you off into the bush. You won't be at school tomorrow. I said, okay. I picked up my hair off the ground and went to find a safe bin to put it in. And then they just switched back to talking about home and away and what might happen next. For them, the storyline on Summer Bay was just as real as what might happen out there in the bush late at night. And the hairy man has been seen by a number of those students. The old part of me might have questioned and thought either, oh, that's superstition, or maybe the hairy man was a story that was told by mothers and fathers to keep their child safe, and it's got a purpose behind it. But as I was there for longer and longer, I realised that's still trying to make their knowledge fit my way of seeing the world. I just need to accept that there's a hairy man out there somewhere and make sure I don't leave my hair lying around. Living there also taught me about the importance of going with the flow, about seeing there's a different pace of life to what we often feel that we have to follow here. A pig on the footy field, just keep playing around it. If there's a fire burning outside your classroom, that's just the burn-offs. Don't worry, shut the windows and keep on teaching. Even after 3-4 years there, it still made me a bit nervous, but I learned to live with it. And if it's 40 degrees, 100% humidity, just give up on teaching maths that day. Move on. So I suppose that brings me to what I feel is a really important piece of advice that I have taken from this, which is be really proud of the knowledge that you have gained. Be very proud of the skills that you have, but know that there are other types of knowledge. There are other ways of seeing the world. There's value in success, in efficiency, in outcomes, in ticking things off, in showing you've got a certificate. But there's also value in slowing down, making connections with others, and being able to see different perspectives. So as you head out into the world right now, or if you're in Year 12 and you're heading that way soon, I guess what I'm saying is use the wonderful knowledge and skills that you have gained, but also the values that you have learnt here in your time at Friends. We know that it's important, more important than ever, to have a global perspective, to see the world. I think it's also important not to forget the different perspectives within Australia. I mentioned that I had got the chance to travel overseas at the school I taught at in Melbourne. I can still remember the feeling, having been in Cambodia on a school trip for 2 weeks and then having headed to the Gama Festival in Arnhem Land. I thought, I am experiencing more culture shock in my own country than I had in Cambodia. This place feels more foreign to me, and I need to change that. So there are different perspectives around the world that we must consider, but also in our own country. No man, of course, is an island. In this year of COVID, I guess it's also the time of COVID, it's also important to think that what is important to us? What are our opportunities? But also where are we feeling safe and secure? For me, I've come back to Tasmania a few years ago from my adventures. I've come back with my family, and for me right now, I feel so lucky to have come back to a clean, green, wonderful place like Hobart. And as you leave off into your journeys of adulthood, it's pretty nice knowing there's such a great place to come back to when you're ready. So I'd like to say congratulations again to all the award recipients for your hard work, your tenacity, your creativity. Congratulations to the parents and the family members. It's been a hard slog for you too, I'm sure. And congratulations to the fabulous staff, the teachers, the leadership, and everyone else who makes this place tick for all that you have done. Award recipients, I really look forward to hearing your names in future years and seeing the difference that each of you can make in Australia and in the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elsa. That was a fabulous story, tale of your adventures. The advice was brilliant. I wish someone had given me similar advice when I was young. Now it's time to move to the presentation of the awards. I'd like to invite Riley Curtin and Aaliyah Walker to come and present to read the names, and Adam Chambers and Nelson File to present the awards. Thank you.
So the first awards this evening are for academic excellence over a range of disciplines. These students will have their names placed on an honour board in either the Clemes or Palfreyman buildings. The first two awards this evening are the Palm Qui and Palm Quay. These are presented to the male and female who we consider to be the best all-round student over a range of learning areas. So on to this year's recipients. This year, the Palm Qui is awarded to Max Powell. Max also receives the Chemistry Prize and a Year 12 Academic Award. And this year's recipient of the Palm Quay is Lottie Framada. Lottie also receives the French Standard Level Prize, the Environmental Systems and Societies Prize, the High Level Psychology Prize, the Theory of Knowledge Prize, and a Year 12 Academic Award. Lottie has already moved to Canberra, so is not able to make this afternoon's ceremony, although she's watching us live. We invite Pete Sipkins to collect these awards on Lottie's behalf.
Congratulations to Lottie and Max on these outstanding achievements. The next awards are for those excellence across a range of disciplines and are given to Year 11 students. The Evan Williams Award, awarded to a student for excellence in mathematics and at least one science subject, goes to Paris Menadou. Paris also receives the Mathematic Methods 415 Prize and Year 11 Academic Award. Next is... And the Charles Annelles Award is presented to the most outstanding student in English and at least one humanities or language subject. We warmly welcome John and Jeanette Annelles, who are joining us today. John was in the class of 1962 and was a Charles Annelles Award recipient before going on to enjoy a career in education, mostly in the north of the state. It is John's first time back to school in many decades, so thanks for coming back to today's presentations. The recipient of the 2020 Charles Annelles Award is Darcy Webster Jones. Darcy also receives a Year 11 Academic Award. Please congratulate Paris and Darcy.
The remaining 2020 Honour Board recipients have received awards for academic excellence in a single discipline. The Alex Nightingale Board for Biology was awarded to Saskia Johnson. Saskia also receives a Year 12 Academic Award. The Tom Lord Board for Chemistry was awarded to Jayden Luck. Jayden also receives the Higher Level Mathematics Prize, the Standard Level Physics Prize, and the Higher Level Chemistry Prize. The Dora Pedder Honour Board, which recognises excellence in English, was awarded to Amelia Naylon. The Madeleine Townsley Board for History was awarded to Angus Bilsma. Angus also receives the Higher Level History Prize, the Higher Level Philosophy Prize, and a Year 12 Academic Award. The MG and ME Chambers Board for Languages was awarded to Nina Ovens. Nina also receives the Prize for Japanese, the Prize for General Mathematics, and a Year 11 Academic Award. The Lillian Sharp Honour Board for Mathematics is awarded this year to Flynn Bradbury. Flynn is also the recipient of the Bill Chambers Board for Physics. He also receives the Prize for Mathematics Specialised, the Prize for Physics, and a Year 12 Academic Award. The Behavioural Studies Prize this year is awarded to Mia Sweet. Mia Sweet also receives a Year 12 Academic Award. And this year, the Old Scholars Performing Arts Prize is awarded to Henry Reinberger.
Congratulations to all the Honour Board recipients. Our next awards are for excellence in a single TCE subject. Please note that some of these prizes have already been awarded, so please hold your applause until the end of this section. So for art production, Rose Castle. Rose also receives the award for student-directed inquiry. Asian Studies, Francis Jargo. For biology, Ronan Pritchard. Ronan also receives a Year 11 academic award. For computer science, Cameron Cooper. For drama, Elsa Double. Elsa also receives a Year 11 academic award. For economics, Oscar Willick. Oscar also receives a Year 12 academic award. For English as an additional language or dialect, Andreas Luther Überkreis. Andreas has also received a Year 11 academic award. For English, Noah Moroney. Noah also receives a Year 11 academic award. For English literature, Charlotte Rogers. Charlotte also receives the Theatre Performance Prize and a Year 12 academic award. For English writing, Zoe Winter. Zoe also receives the award for studies of religion. For environmental science, Eloise Griffin. Eloise also receives the award for outdoor leadership. For German, Helen Weimann. Mathematics Methods Foundation, Simon Stankovic. For Music Technology Project 110, James Trotter. For Music Technology Project 111, Stephen Shen. For Music 315, Yovini Pereira. For Object Design, Jet Farrell. For Philosophy, Isabella Beggs. Isabel also receives a Year 12 academic award. For Physical Science, Edward Reynolds. Edward also receives a Year 11 academic award. For Sociology, Maya Johnson. Maya also receives an award for media production. Sports Science, Lucas Wigston. Lucas also receives a Year 12 award.
And some applause for everybody who was awarded. We'll now be moving on to the awards for the International Baccalaureate subjects. This year, in Economics Standard Level, Naya Inglis was awarded. Naya also receives a Year 11 academic award. In English Literature Higher Level, Lexi Sheard. Lexi Sheard also receives the award for French ab initio and a Year 12 academic award. The award in English Language and Literature Higher Level is awarded to Sasha Reinbold. The award in Mathematics Standard Level is awarded to Ansel Luck. Ansel also receives a Year 12 academic award. And the award in Music goes to Sarah Jack. Sarah also receives a Year 12 academic award. Our final awards go to Year 11 and Year 12 students with outstanding academic achievements over a range of subjects. Some applause for everybody who was awarded this year. Firstly, the Year 12 students, and again, many of the recipients have already received their awards.
So James Arnott, Lily Boucher, Millicent Coleman, Georgina Davey, Griffin Hooper, Emily Jones, Declan Knight, Julia Mountain, Matilda O'Donoghue, Adam Painter, Yash Patil, and Isabella Shackloth. Congratulations. And now to our final group, Year 11 students receiving academic awards across a range of subjects. So William Baird, Otto Bell, Georgia Chambers, Oliver Fuster Sharman, Alana Hansen, James Howard, Zara Netterfold, Elizabeth Scott, Ronan Nichols, Clara Kim, Elizabeth Scott, Zoe Shackloff, Riley Curtin, Alex Boxall, Aaron Molnar, Leah DeSantis, Kayla Fadrianto, Elsie Taylor, Ella Jensen, Sophie Rackham, and Alia Hayder. Congratulations to this final group, and we wish them all the best for this year. I now invite Nelson File to close today's ceremony.
Well, thank you, and thank you very much. Students, congratulations. Parents, congratulations, and staff. This does not just happen. It's a lot of hard work. It's not just 1 year. It's many years. But as we heard earlier, it's not the end, it's the beginning. It's the beginning of your adventure, the beginning of how are you thinking about making an impact in the world. And of course, that might seem like a big question at first. But the best impact we can make is how are we acting on a daily basis with each other, with our care and concern for each other, with us thinking clearly, with us acting with integrity, having care for the environment, having a global perspective. We're not expecting or anticipating everyone to be spending their lives in ways that perhaps now seem unachievable. But how we act on a daily basis makes a huge impact. The choices we make, the words we use, and the interactions we have. I know there's a lot of negativity in the world, and sometimes we are bombarded all the time by the news with the problems we see before us. But I have great faith and great hope. So I know that there's millions of people around the world working very hard to change the world and make it a better place to live in. And I have great confidence in all of you as you move forward that that's going to happen as well. So congratulations, well done. The journey now starts and continues onwards. We'll finish with a few moments of silence.